Solene and Mert. I thought we were friends.
I hope they made an enemy out of her, and I hope America keeps her and Mert safe.
You guys are a friendship
But the
couple.
connection very good.
But it's like, bro, what are you and KK? Because you're giving her nothing. You're paying her dust. What's up, everybody? Here to talk about episode 4 of Love Island Games Season 2. Another pretty good episode. The competitions continue to get intense and give us intense twists for the eliminations. It looks like someone else or a full couple might be going home come Sunday. I once again want to go over some of the couples and all their drama or their positives if they have any. We're going to start with KK and Chris. I cannot stand Chris right now. I really can't. He's going on and on about how he likes looking at her. They're clearly in these moments together for a few episodes in a row now where they're having a good conversation. KK is clearly looking for a kiss. Still no kiss from Chris, which is very important for the rest of what I'm going to talk about. Because then here comes Tyrique to tell Chris that he and KK kissed the other night. And Tyrique is saying he wanted to tell Chris out of respect. He says Chris is upset because KK didn't say anything. And to me, that was Tyrique playing the hell out of empty big head Chris. That's definitely the way I saw it. Ty is getting ahead of KK telling Chris. Ty said in his confessional an episode or two ago that he's talking to KK because he wants to cause a mess between Chris and KK. It's very smart. It is strategic. Good on Tyrique for doing that. In confessionals, Chris is just saying how this just reiterates how he is here for the win. But I don't know what Chris is expecting of KK when he won't even kiss her. When Chris confronts KK about it, of course KK's pissed that Tyrique told Chris before she had the chance to do so. She's saying she didn't want to just spring it on him. It had to be a conversation. Chris was thinking they had more communication. But KK is still wondering why he's not more flirty, more cuddly. Like, bro, you're giving her nothing. I don't know what you can expect. So he's just coming off as, honestly, his typical passive-aggressive self. And even there's been small little edits clowning on Chris, because even in the recap at the beginning of episode 4, talking about episode 3, they show for a second Chris sleeping in the bed while Ty and KK are kissing, which to me was very petty to show that Chris is bringing nothing right now. I mean, he's bringing in the competitions, I suppose, but even that's questionable, which we'll get to at the end. Chris later in the episode did talk to Justine. Maybe they will have something. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I guess they would make for a good team, a past winner, and Chris, who was big. In that same vein of drama, though, we also have more drama that Tyrique is involved in. Johnny is happy to be with Andreina. He congratulated her on still being in the game. She talked about doubting herself and likes that Johnny leads her. He's there for her when she needed to spill her feelings. He's, typical cocky Johnny, saying he's a superhero who got her out of the dumps. And after that, they had quite the heavy kissing session, which is important to note for Andreina's drama coming up. Andreina is telling some of the girls that she's attracted to both Tyrique and Johnny. And, while I do think Johnny is probably a better teammate for Andreina, we all know Johnny's history as a cheater, so I don't really think the love part's going to work out for them either. But do I think it's going to work out for Andreina and Tyrique? No. Not after the past couple episodes when Tyrique really showed his insecurities when it came to seeing Andreina and Johnny now coupled up. But Chris told Andreina that Tyrique and KK kissed. This after Ty told him. And Tyrique learned from Lucinda that Andreina and Johnny kissed. So when Andreina goes to question Tyrique about kissing KK, she's very upset because it did come the night when she was at her lowest point in the game because she had just got bodied in the challenge by Lucinda, and she cried to Tyrique after her loss, and that was the same night that he decided to kiss KK. Andreina's defense of her kissing Johnny is that they have a history. Tyrique is telling her that they're not with each other anymore, and I like that Andreina stood up for herself with Tyrique in here and, put up or pushed back on his cockiness, saying that she has options in there too, and he don't seem to give a shit. So if he don't give a shit, she don't either. So yeah, I like Andreina sticking up for herself there with Tyrique, but she was also being a hypocrite. Like, yeah, Tyrique kissed KK the night you were so sad, but then the very next day you're kissing Johnny. So like, it's really hard to feel sorry for Andreina with that whole hypocrisy. But I get her point, but it's Love Island too at the same time. Later, KK and Andreina tried to talk things out. I don't think Andreina's upset with KK at all. And then Ty interrupted their conversation to chat with KK, not Andreina. So Andreina has to leave to watch Tyrique and KK talk. I think after that, Andreina is feeling fairly done with Tyrique, but we'll see if he weasels his way back there. During the conversation with KK and Tyrique, KK is saying or admitting to Tyrique that she likes that the way he eye fucks her, basically, but is asking if he wants more and if he needs to show her more. And he says he's going to, so we'll see. But to move on from these dramatic couples, we'll talk about Kendall and Garby next. Kendall is realizing he still hasn't won a challenge. Garby did very well in the first challenge when she did it by herself. Kendall seemed to bring her down in the last challenge. Garby was acting like Kendall was patient during that challenge when he really wasn't. So I don't know if that was just Garby trying to be a people pleaser, or I don't know. Maybe she's just so competitive that him yelling at her during the challenge a bit wasn't affecting her. But they got to know each other more, and Garby admitted to Kendall that she is a virgin. Kendall seemed to really take it well and seemed supportive with all of that. So I still like them as a couple. Well, I like them as a team still. As a couple, still not sold though. And another couple that's not sold on each other is Isiah and Nicola. They are very happy together as a team. They killed it as a team. She told Isiah that he's fun and she's happy in their couple, but then Isiah is clearly focused on them being a good team because they do have good communication. But then he does tell her that he doesn't see her on an intimate level, and he doesn't want to lead her on. And we shouldn't sit here and shit on Isiah for him being honest with her. In fact, I respect it from Isiah, and it's not just because he's a Pisces. I do respect it from Isiah because at least, unlike Taylor in season 7, he's not leading her on because he's not attracted to her and he's not leading her on. That's the way to do it, Taylor. The person like Taylor seems to be Chris, because I can't tell if Chris is trying to be like Taylor or Ace from his season or both, because he's either acting like he wants the slow burn with KK, or he's just leading KK on because he knows they could win comps together and he wants to win the game. Unfortunately for Chris, KK does seem to want the love aspect this season as well. A few more notes on the couples before we get to the challenge. Not much between Solène and Mert. They're not into each other. Solene even made some funny quip per usual in the episode, saying how her hair, or the ends of her hair, are drier than her love life. But despite them not really getting along as a couple. They did good enough during the challenge. And then Josh and Andrea, I still think Josh is a little more into Andrea than she is into him. I think Andrea just sees them as a good team. But Andrea is not part of that team anymore because we get a new bombshell. It's Toby. Don't really care about Toby. And he gets to choose his girl, and he chooses Andrea. So Josh cannot catch a break with these bombshells coming into the game, wanting to choose his girl. So now Toby and Andrea competed together in the couples challenge. That left Josh with Justine, who came in single. I don't think Josh minds being with Justine, though. They're apparently friends outside of the game, and I mean, she's the current defending champion of Love Island games. So not the worst person to be in a competition with. So they did some Sunday night football comp to see who would be the first power couple and who would be the bottom couples, and face the public vote, the first public vote. I really didn't have too much to do with football. They had to fill buckets of water on the women's head. The women then had to go to goalpost type things, put it in the thing, fill up the goalposts. In the first heat, Isiah was doing his best to do some sabotaging because you had to put tires in front for the women to be able to go ahead. Clearly KK and Chris killed that challenge. Unfortunately, KK had an advantage though. I mean, she was the shortest girl. She didn't have to do all this intense head tilting like a lot of the taller women had to do. Garby and Kendall also did good. So those two couples were safe from that heat. In the second heat, Mert was all about sabotaging the other teams, not realizing that the whole goal though is to still get the water into the things from Solène. Justine and Josh were the only couple to, I think, finish the first part of that challenge. Nobody else even finished. But I still want to give Solène credit because she did the best pouring out of any woman besides KK, but she's much taller than KK. So I thought Solène killed it in that challenge, and she carried herself and Mert to being safe. The two couples in that heat safe were Justine and Josh, and those two. But then the twist came with KK and Chris being the power couple. I don't like Chris having power. It's just going to make more power go to his... It's going to make his big-ass head even bigger, is what it's going to do. I'm happy for KK, though. She deserves a better experience than her Love Island season. So I like that for her. But they had to make one of the safe couples vulnerable. So the people at the bottom of the challenges were Andrea and Toby, Andreina and Johnny, Lucinda and Tyrique, and Isiah and Nicole. They had to choose one more couple. They chose Solène and Mert. Chris's excuse was that because Solène and Mert are a friendship couple, but it's bro, what are you and KK? Because you're giving her nothing. You're paying her dust. I think they chose Solène and Mert because they wanted to choose a couple that would go home. They don't want the couple to be saved by America and be still in the game wanting revenge. I think that they think that since Mert and Solène are from smaller countries, Love Islands, that Americans won't vote for them to be safe. But little do they know that we love Solène, or at least I do. And I see a lot of people online wanting her to stay too for the drama, for the TV. And I want Solène to want revenge on Chris and KK. That is what I want from Solène. I hope they made an enemy out of her, and I hope America keeps her and Mert safe. Personally, if y'all didn't vote for either Solène and Mert, Tyrique and Lucinda, or Johnny and Andreina, you hate good TV, and I don't know why you're watching. Because Tyrique is causing havoc, he has the story with Johnny and Andreina too, and Solène is just good TV. So I hope the bottom couples, if there's two and not three, are Andrea and Toby and Isiah and Nicole. And honestly, I do like the fight in Nicole. I'm hoping the bottom couples have to go against each other in a challenge to see who's eliminated, and it ain't just by our vote or the Islanders' vote. If it's that, it kind of takes away from the games aspect of the show. And if Andrea gets eliminated, Josh gets his chance to crash out like Rob and have his moment. And Toby gets to come in and go right back out just for a cameo. It's a win-win for me. I'm hoping Andrea and Toby get eliminated. If any couple has to be get eliminated, I'm hoping it's them. Tyrique loses his strong ally in childhood friend Toby, but oh well.